Hi everyone and welcome to today's morning report on Friday 9th of May with me, Rich Perry, market analyst at Hantech Markets. The European trading session got off to a bit of a negative start really, although that negativity has sort of been progressing. Markets were initially cautious on the back of the continue to get mixed reports over the progress of this deal for Greece. The truth of the matter appears to be that they are working towards a deal, although they're perhaps not as far forward in the deal progression as perhaps the Greeks would have you believe. And Varoufakis keeps coming out saying they're close to a deal, and then obviously that then gets to the European Commission. And yesterday, IMF Chief Christine Lagarde said that Greece was actually still could exit the Eurozone. So, I mean, it would just... I think the truth of the matter probably lies somewhere in between, really, whereby they are moving towards a deal and they are progressing, but not potentially at the pace that perhaps Greece would have you believe. So it's probably going to roll into next week now, and it sort of created a bit of caution in the markets. I mean, the euro has sort of into some of the gains that it's actually had in the last couple of days. But interestingly, the DAX is now under pressure to the downside. DAX falling back lower, over 1% lower today on the DAX. So it's interesting that we're seeing that move coming through. But certainly in Forex markets, a bit of a consolidation really. It's interesting also that the dollar potentially could be just looking to roll over slightly. Got the dollar index here, and just this move in the last couple of days has been a little bit corrective on that dollar index. And it's interesting because we're seeing a few signs potentially on the yen, for example, that had that big breakout. Yen slowing down in terms of the advance. We're seeing Swiss franc and also the Canadian loonie as well. Canadian dollar being my chart of the day. So a few signs on these dollar pairs that maybe the dollar is running out a bit of steam on the upside, and I'll talk you through that in a bit. But we've got the growth data out today for the States and for Canada. Specifically on the US, though, the expectation is actually that the first reading of 0.2% growth for the advanced annualized data for Q1 is potentially going to get revised down all the way to minus 1.0 on that data. So that would obviously not be a great bit of news there, and potentially could put a bit of pressure, bit of corrective pressure on the dollar today. We've also got the Canadian data that comes out at 1:30 as well, same time as the US data. That's forecast to come in at 0.3, so that's a slight improvement actually on the first reading of flat. But it'll be interesting to see that at 1:30. Then at 3 o'clock we've got the Michigan sentiment data. Again, this is a final reading, and again a very slight revision to 89.9 from 89.6 in terms of the flash reading. So bit of US data to move the markets this afternoon, but obviously it is the last day of the month, last trading day of the month, so it could be a bit of just tying up of a few loose ends today. But certainly at the moment the Forex markets are just showing a little bit of US dollar correction, and that sort of takes me to my chart of the day, which is the Canadian dollar. Now we've had this run higher on the loonie, on the dollar versus the loonie. So this is the US dollar rebounding. But yesterday and the day before, a couple of corrective candles. Yesterday's candle was a shooting star actually. That's a negative candle where you see a breakout to a new high in the trading phase, but then it just reverses intraday to close towards the bottom of the day. Now that is a corrective candle, and also you're seeing the stochastic starting to roll over. The MACD and RSI not too bad yet, but certainly that crossing, that negative cross on the stochastics is interesting, and this sort of follows on. Yesterday's candle follows on from a pretty neutral candle, which is almost a spinning top on the candle on Wednesday. But yeah, yesterday's candle is a corrective candle. If you look on the hourly chart, this is where it gets more interesting as well. Look at these momentum indicators on the hourly RSI and the hourly MACD lines, both bearishly diverging now, falling away, and that would suggest a loss of upside impetus in the move into the break into the high ground yesterday, where we then subsequently saw a correction back from 25.37. And we've seen sort of a bit of consolidation, slight uptick today, but it would certainly, I would certainly be putting emphasis on the 23.90 support level that we had as Wednesday's low. And if you see a break below that, I think that could start this this correction that we're having potentially on the dollar loonie, due to the fact that we've got the loss of upside momentum now on these indicators. So I'd be interested to see if we start to see this rally rolling over once more and then pushing back, sort of correcting back towards the supports, and 23.90 is that initial support. That would also arguably sort of start to complete potentially even a top pattern as well. And certainly that is a loss of a reaction low if that were to be the case. So watch out for that 23.90 support. I'm not calling this one yet as a correction, but certainly the signs are mounting that this possibility of a correction coming through, certainly with that shooting star on the daily chart, that candle, that negative candle, certainly giving indication that perhaps we could be on the brink of a correction near term. And you'd start to look at the supports within the rally higher, and just put my crosshair on a few. I mean, you've got the breakout support. Sort of there's a bit of a range at the front end of this week, sort of building above sort of 23 area, sort of 22.75 up towards 23.15, and then you broke out, and so that would be a support on the downside. Also, that this breakout support around 22.50 as well. So a couple of levels there for you to work with potentially that you could come back to, but certainly this decline or this sort of rolling over of the momentum indicators on the hourly chart giving me cause for concern. So it's one to watch, I think, today, the dollar Canadian, especially with both having the growth data out today as well. We could see some movement on this chart. So I wish you good luck in your trading on the dollar loonie today, and I will speak to you later. Thank you.